Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Calendars, Create and Share Events. I'm your host, Ryan Clancy, the Client Success Associate here at Educational Networks. Today, we are excited to bring this webinar to you live. So remember, please feel free to ask questions, and I will be more than happy to answer those questions for you. Let's go ahead, everyone, and get started. So the Calendars feature allows you to very easily share school events to your school community. And what's great too is you can have calendars for different departments. So for example, if the music department would like to have their own calendar, they absolutely can go ahead and have that. So can the athletics department too. And staff members can also have their own calendars too, which is awesome. So what's great about that is it allows parents and students to very easily keep track of everything going on at the school, in the school activities they're interested in, and what's going on in their students' class. And you could also add files and pictures to events. So let's say, for example, you're announcing a school field trip. Well, why not go ahead and attach a PDF of that field trip permission slip with that there. All right, everyone, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to first see the calendars feature through the eyes of our website viewers, and then we're even going to have a chance to be able to go ahead and add our very own event. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to navigate over to the home page. So if we scroll down over here, when we look at the calendars feature, there's actually some similarities that we're going to notice between calendars and news and announcements. One of the most important is the fact that they both share information directly to the home page of the site. So what we see with the calendars feature in particular is that it shows the date, the time, and the location for upcoming events. This is something really cool here too. You can click Show Calendar here, and what comes up is this really nice printable calendar. So what's great about this is parents can go ahead, print this out, put it on the refrigerator, and it's a nice, easy way for them to keep track of everything going on at their students' school. Also, too, we can click on an individual event and see information contained within a specific event. So in this case, more of the details, talking about what the admission price is going to be for this upcoming event as well, which is really, really cool. Now, everyone, it's our turn to go ahead and get started with adding our very own. And let's say, for example, in addition to that particular concert, let's say, for example, the school band is planning a spring concert as well. So what we do is we navigate back over to our admin page and we log in. Our next step is to go ahead and find the calendars feature. And it's going to be located right over here, just underneath news and announcements. I select calendars. And one thing important to note is if I take my mouse here and I hold it to the right-hand side, we have two options come up. One of them is a share button, and that allows us to post some information from this specific event over to Facebook and to Twitter. And delete too, so that's important for when an event's time is come and gone or if we ever have to cancel an event. So in this case, what I do to get started with adding a brand new event, I'm going to select Add Event. And just like news and announcements here, we're going to see that adding an event is as easy as filling out an online form. So we're going to start here. So it's going to be the school's spring concert. Perfect. My next step here is to go ahead and put in the date that this is going to be. So let's say, for example, that this is going to be a week from Friday. Now, that's something that's going to appear on the home page, and so is the time. So we're going to say the time is going to be, we'll say it's from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. All right, perfect. Our next step here is to go ahead and put the location in. So we'll say that this is going to be at the school's Performing Arts Center. Awesome. Our next step is to add in the description. Now, this text editor is featured throughout a lot of the site, And the cool thing is, no matter where it's at, it always works the same. So I can type my description in, but I've actually already written it. So in this case, I'm going to copy and paste it. Remember that there's always one very important step that you want to take before you copy and paste anything into this text field, and that is you want to first switch this to the plain text editor. We go up to where that's going to be stored. So let's see, spring concert. I see it right over here. And then what I do is I paste it in. Now, as soon as I've done that, I can switch it back to rich formatting and make any formatting changes I like. Oh, it looks like it's changed location. So we're just going to update this here. So Performing Arts Center. Whoops, I'm having a hard time spelling today, but that is okay. There we go. All right, that looks perfect. So we have the opportunity now, if this was a field trip, we could go ahead and add that field trip permission slip in. Though in this case, we're not going to add that in. We're going to add instead a photo to go with this. So a photo of the band. So let's go ahead and locate a photo of the band. I see one of a marching band. That I think works well. It's going to take just a moment for that to load. That brings us to our final step, and arguably one of the most important, and that is deciding as to whether or not you want to share information from this event over to our social media channels. In this case, absolutely we want to share that, and we do that just by checking these boxes. Now, because those boxes there are checked at the same time we click save, it's going to post the event now to our site, as well as over to our two social media channels, Twitter and to Facebook. So now I click save. And now too, if we go back to the home page, click refresh, and we scroll down, we see our spring concert here. So I can select this. And we see, of course, the details of our spring concert, the date, time, and location. It's talking about how we're going to go ahead and have the school chorus there, the symphonic band. So a lot of really exciting things, and we have a great photo of the band too. Now, here's something that is really neat about the calendars feature. Not only can it post to social media, but you can actually connect it to Google Calendars too. And this is how you do that. So what we're going to do here is we are going to go ahead and navigate over to our back over to the calendars feature. Actually, I see it right over here. We're going to go to the drop-down menu. I'm going to select Manage Calendar. Now, to connect to Google Calendar, all I need to do is just click Main Calendar. And from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose my options. I see we have a great question here. I'm very excited to answer that for you. Be just a moment, and I'll be happy to go ahead and answer that for you. So we have two options with Google Calendar. The first one is this one here, where it says Import Google Calendar. The best way to think of this is more or less the less automatic of the two options. So this is something that if you want to import your Google Calendar on kind of a need for basis. So you want to go ahead, you decide one day, well, I've added a lot to my Google Calendar and I want to bring that information over onto the website calendar. The other option is the Link Google Calendar, and this here is going to be the more automatic of the two options. So in this case, what you do is you click Link Google Calendar. It's going to ask you to choose an account, and then it's going to want to go ahead and ask for permission for to be able to access this here. And then it's going to actually ask you to go ahead and choose which calendar you want to go ahead and connect. So we choose the public school calendar, and then it's going to bring up three options. So this is going to determine how your calendar is going to operate. So the push option more or less is going to be where it's going to go ahead and anytime you update your website calendar, it's going to update your Google Calendar. The pull option is the opposite of that. Basically, anytime you update your Google Calendar, it's going to update your website calendar. And then we finally have the last option, and this is both. The great thing about both is no matter which calendar you update, whether it's your site calendar or your Google Calendar, it's going to update the opposite one for that. All right, everyone. So we have definitely covered a lot of ground today. So let's go ahead and review. Just a moment. Then we'll have some time for some Q&A here. All right, so as we've seen, everyone, within just a few moments, you can easily add events to your calendars. It's as easy as filling out an online forms, and within moments, not only can you post it to your site, but you can also post it over to your social media channels over to Facebook and Twitter. And you can also sync your calendars over to with Google as well. So that's another way that you can share the content from your calendar over your Google Calendars there, so to another channel. You can also add staff members as managers too. So the great thing is they don't necessarily have to be website administrators in order to work with the calendars feature. And you can even add files and documents to events. So whether it's a concert or a field trip, you could add flyers, field trip permission slips, or in this case, as we did today, you can add photos to it as well. All right, everyone, we have an excellent question here. And the question is Twitter and Facebook the only social media options, or can you add Snapchat? That's a great question. Currently, right now, Facebook and Twitter are the two options that the site can connect with. What we can do, though, is we can always add a button to other social media channels as well, such as Snapchat. That would be linked over on the homepage. So basically, and you actually can see examples of the buttons that we have over here. We have one for Facebook, Twitter, and over to YouTube. So this is something that can bring your users over to your social media channels from here. So they could click on this and they could access your Facebook page or your Twitter page or your YouTube channel, or even Snapchat as well. So that is an excellent question. Now, for that, what you would want to do is you would want to contact our tech support team. And this is actually how you would get help from our tech support team as well. You would click Create a Ticket. And essentially what you would do is you would fill out the form here. This is where you want to go if you do happen to have any type of error message. So, for example, if you have some type of technical difficulty or something like that, but also for changes like that, if you would like to have a button added, that would be a link to one of your social media channels, so your website viewers can access that. That is also something that can be, that is also something that our tech support team can go ahead and add for that there. Now, here's an important tip too. So remember to connect your site to Facebook and Twitter. It's very easy. All you're going to do is you're going to click on the boxes icon and then select Settings. The great thing is, oh, it's my pleasure, thank you. You can go down over here, select Social Media. And the great thing is that once you're on this page, it's actually going to walk you through the steps that you need to take to connect your website over to your social media channels. All right, everyone. Well, I want to thank you all so much for joining us here today for our webinar. One thing that to check your email for is I'm going to be going ahead and sending you a recording of today's webinar, as well as a guide for the calendars feature as well. Also, too, I'm going to go ahead and give you a link right now over to our webinar calendar. So be just a moment. We have a lot of exciting webinars planned, including one later on this week. Actually, I believe it's tomorrow. That's going to be where we're going to show you how you can use the Forms feature for field trip permission slips. Now, I have the link over here to the webinar. If you have a chance to, definitely go ahead and register for webinars that you are interested in. And the reason is, even if you're not able to attend that, that's perfectly fine. I'll still go ahead and send you a recording for the webinar as well as that guide too. All right, everyone. Well, I want to thank you all so much for taking the time out of your busy days to join us here for our webinar. Remember this, everyone, that if you have any questions, I am your host, Ryan Clancy. I am the Client Success Associate here at Educational Networks. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. We also, too, have our phone number here for tech support. Tech support's available from 7:30 in the morning all the way up until 2 a.m. Central Standard Time. Everyone, thank you all so much for everything you do every day to inspire future generations. And as always, we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. Take care, everybody.